In this video, we're just going to remind ourselves of the need to parse and store data in any application, and I hope that you'll get a sense of the magnitude of data that is involved in enterprise applications. We have many components that use data. Clients, whether they be web browsers, desktop applications, mobile devices, or whatever, will all need to make use of data. And of course, that will involve sending data as part of requests to servers. The RESTful API is going to receive data. Those requests that come in will contain data and will, of course, return in the responses data to the clients. And server-side, there are going to be many other components, many of which we will look at later on in the module. And those components also are going to make use of data. So we have data coming in from the client to the RESTful API, being passed on to other components server side, and then eventually other data being passed back to the client. Now, typically JSON is used as a format for passing data between client and server, and we'll talk more about that in the next video. So in an organization, an enterprise, there are likely to be many enterprise applications that will share data. Let's go back to the idea of a university. We have all these different types of applications, and there will be data involved in every one of them, much of it shared between the applications. So for example, an applicant will make an inquiry that will generate data. That data must be stored. Then when the applicant becomes a student, that data will need to be brought forward into the other applications. After student registration, then the data from that will need to be used in the tuition fee billing and payment system, and also in the timetabling system, and so on and so forth. So there is lots and lots of data, much of it shared between many applications. Now, one way of sharing the data is to store it in a common repository. You might immediately think of a database, but of course it might be that that database is not an official database system, but a file or some other mechanism. And so enterprise applications need to preserve data, which is also known as persistence, and that data will need to be preserved between closing an application and opening it again. And likewise, this is done with files and databases and so on. So we've mentioned in this short video a few ways in which data might be stored, and it will be good for you to do some background reading on types of database.